Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Super Deluxe Games Cast. It's Thursday, January 9th. It's been 6 months since New Year's Day.
It fucking feels like it. It has been the longest 9 days of my fucking life.
There's a lot of that shit going around, buddy. There's a lot of that going around. That's why I got my magic potion here.
Yeah.
To alleviate my worries and my hurts and my pains. God fucking damn it! I make a good old fashioned.
You do make a good old fashioned.
Shit.
Which whiskey did you use for that one?
Basil Hayden, obviously.
Basil Hayden, good call. It's a good standby for something like that.
I have some cardamom simple syrup.
That's an interesting call.
In there, with some chocolate bitters.
So you're having real fun with that.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I got little wild turkey rare breed.
Hello to chat. Thank you for being here, chat. So, guys, tonight. So I've been crowing about it.
That's a sharper bourbon than I'm used to.
Which one are you doing? Wild turkey. You
Wild
said?
turkey rare breed. It's one of the step up. So it's like a $60-$70 bottle. I wanted to get something like a little higher on the shelf than normal. It's good. It's very good. It's just also definitely sharper than I would normally go with.
Derek, you're a rare breed. So
they don't make them anxious like me, buddy.
Well, they definitely don't make them handsome like me. So
I thought you were gonna say handsome like me, and I was gonna be like, "Aw," but fuck
obviously
you, bud.
Obviously handsome like you too. I mean, Derek, come on, let's face it. We're both pretty good-looking people. I'm a good-looking guy, and you're a good-looking them.
I've managed to catch the attention of a few a few folks. So that's actually, you know what? Genuinely, I don't know if you saw, but I was like, one of my big pushes for this year is I'm going to start being nicer to myself about my appearance. Because we know I have like real bad dysmorphia about my face, about my body, that I don't feel like good about myself in a lot of ways. But like the way I put it on Blue Sky was like the sheer number of extremely hot people that are into me and are in my DMs. They can't all be wrong. So,
Derek, literally everybody has been telling you this for years now.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna try listening for once.
You need that Johnfidence in you.
That's not happening.
You need the Johnfidence. Derek, for anybody who hasn't met me at PAX, I hope to meet you this year if you're going to be there for the first time and I haven't met you. But for anybody who hasn't met me at PAX, Derek, what is the number one thing that I'm good at?
Talking to fucking anybody.
Literally anyone. Literally anyone. I will march my fucking self right in the middle of a crowd and just act like I own that motherfucker. But that's because I got that Johnfidence, Derek. And what I want to instill in you is a good sense of that Johnfidence. I need you to take that Johnfidence and take it in your own direction.
That one leaves a weird taste in the mouth, bud.
I got the Johnfidence. You provide the direction. Yeah.
You know, I think if I ever got confident, half the people who are into me would stop being into me overnight.
I think
I think people mostly like me because they want to wrap a security blanket around me.
Honestly, if you got confident, I don't know what the fuck I'd do.
Good thing for both of us then, motherfucker.
I don't know what the fuck I'd do. So guys, we got a super secret topic tonight that I can't.
I don't know what's happening because here's the thing. There's been jack for news other than more Nintendo Switch 2 shit coming out that we already talked about last week.
Like we can mention it briefly. Like there's more,
but there's not. It's just the same shit we said last week. Like there's just the accessory makers are showing it off. There was it's Nintendo just announced it.
Was on the fucking CES show floor.
Just announce it, motherfuckers. But that's it. There's nothing to say until they announce it because like, oh wow, we know that there's a weird button on the okay, show me games. Until Nintendo is showing off games running on this thing, none of this means anything. So
here's the thing though, like apparently software is starting to leak now. So this is within the last hour and a half.
Oh, see, I've been busy.
Games like what you would expect, older games like Red Dead Redemption and FIFA and like stuff that is obvious. Right. Like of course Red Dead Redemption is going to come to the Switch too. Like of course FIFA is going to come to the Switch too. I would be stunned if you didn't see games like Death Stranding on the Switch too.
Sure.
I think that's a fucking.
I don't know. I'll look this stuff up later. I was busy, so I just didn't get a chance to look. So,
but tonight's, I'm actually going to tweet what the topic is now. On I say tweet.
Well, I can't see it. You're gonna skeet it.
I'm not. So here's the thing.
John,
I don't say
skeet?
skeet. I'm not. I refuse to fucking call this shit a skeet.
John, you skeeting?
I'm gonna. You know what? I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it coming. I'm coming on Blue Sky right now.
Skip straight past the innuendo.
Right now, I'm coming our topic out right now.
I'm gonna blast rope on Blue Sky.
I am dropping some thick ropes on Blue Sky right now about our topic tonight. Which,
why am I thinking about that elevator at PAX West? The suspicious.
Okay, all right, Derek. You need to fucking provide the context for that shit. You can't just drop
it's simple.
that.
We walked into an elevator and there was what very much looked like a big old jizz puddle right in the middle of that elevator.
Yeah.
Somebody was drippy.
Somebody got in there. They were like, I'm gonna pre. Actually, that was more than pre. Like that was
the whole thing. That was a post.
That was a bucket.
That was posting, bud.
That was a bucket. So, our topic tonight. It's not a joke topic. It's not some bullshit like which old Atari sex game like was the weirdest. Which
you tried to get me to do a podcast just about those. I think
we are going to talk about that at some point because Derek, you can't know that there's an Atari 2600 game called Beat 'em and Eat 'em and not fucking talk about it. Okay? There's no way you can have the knowledge that there's an Atari game from 1981 where to put out a fire, you're a fireman hanging out of a helicopter, slowly
using a fire hose to put out a fire,
to put the fire out. You can't not talk about that shit, and we're going to get into that eventually. But tonight's topic, Derek, I thought that we would take a look back. I thought that we would take a look back at the history of a game that both you and I enjoy deeply.
The Quiet Man.
No, not at all. Hey, what's up, our Arturotron Robo Bartender?
Arturo's been in chat plenty of times, yeah.
Who I believe was a former Marine. Just like me.
I seem to recall that Arturo's talked about serving before. Yes.
Yep. So Semper Fi. God, I haven't said that in so fucking long. It feels weird.
It sounds weird. I don't think I've ever heard you say that. So
yeah, it feels very strange. So we are going to look back. We're going to look back at a game, Derek, that I think closed out the PlayStation 1 era very, very well. We are going to look back and do a little retrospective, a deep dive on Final Fantasy IX.
Yeah! Why does Britt have to be so mentally unwell right now? She should be here for this.
That is what we're going to talk about today.
That's her loss.
That we're going to talk about Final Fantasy IX.
You've been replaying Final Fantasy IX recently, right?
I have, and that's why I
just recently replayed it and beat it.
Britt. So for Ad Mode, Britt will be. She's taking a little break. She will be back.
Yeah,
she'll be back.
No, actually, none of us are friends anymore. So it's
absolutely
all horrible drama behind the scenes.
We all do miss Britt. We all miss Britt, but she'll be back. The one Final Fantasy I've always wanted to play but never have. Well, we're going to talk about it. We're going to. Now there will be mild spoiler territory.
I want to put out. This is, I believe, me and Britt's both favorite Final Fantasy. I know it's mine. If it's not my Britt's favorite, it's in her like top 3, but I think this is her favorite because Beatrix is one of her favorite characters of all time.
She is, and it's not my favorite, but I really like it. I really love Final Fantasy IX. It's a top 5. It slips in and out of my top 5.
And this is a good time to be talking about Final Fantasy IX because the rumors have been flying for ages. Well, that animated series got announced and may have been canceled.
So no. So what happened with the animated series was the company producing it was bought out or like it closed down or something. But there is another company that is coming in attempting to purchase this company to restart that animated series.
Okay, but we've got that. We've had a lot of FF9 collaborations and a bunch of other Final Fantasy ongoing games, from mobile games to FF14.
Dawn Trail is heavily steeped in Final Fantasy IX lore.
And supposedly there's been multiple database leaks about that FF9 remake.
It's happening. It's a matter of when, not if. Like it's a thing.
Yeah.
It's a thing that's real. But tonight we're going to take this hour and a half, or this hour and 20 minutes now. We're gonna look back at Final Fantasy IX. We're going to look at what worked, what didn't work. And I feel like this is a great time to talk about it, Derek, not just because of all the stuff you mentioned, but also because you recently replayed it. I'm in the middle of a replay and it's fresh in our heads.
Yeah.
So Final Fantasy IX was a stark departure from Final Fantasy 7 and 8, right? Final Fantasy 7 and 8.
It's weird because in retrospect, 7 and 8 were the departures at the time, right? Because 1
Which
through
is
6
weird to think about, yeah.
were very pure fantasy that had like, the kind of very classically Final Fantasy like Magitech sort of stuff coming in. And then 7 is the one that went very hard into sci-fi territory, and 8 kind of
I would say like cyberpunk territory
in a lot of ways. And I think 8 while not necessarily being cyberpunk, went again very heavily sci-fi in its version of fantasy. Like I think 7 and 8 have more DNA in common than most people would like to admit. And then 9 comes along, and 9 brings us all the way back to the NES and SNES era in terms of kind of the format of the setting.
Right. And so what I was not aware of, Derek, until very recently was that Final Fantasy, like Square knew that Final Fantasy 9 was going to be a stark departure from what 7 and 8 had done.
Yeah.
So 8 and 9 were developed next to each other and scheduled and set to be released a year apart. Back in the fucking day when Final Fantasy games came out like every 2 years. Remember those days, Derek?
Yeah. Shit. Hang on, because back in the PlayStation 1 days, didn't FF7, Tactics 8, and 9 all come out?
I think they all came out within 2 years.
Year after year after year after year.
Yep.
We got all 4 of those in a stretch of 4 years.
That was back in the days of fucking demo discs, man. I miss demo discs.
Demo discs.
I fucking loved me some demo discs, dude. When I was in high school, that shit would get me so excited. Like I would run down to like, the grocery store, I'd like hop on my bike and grab the newest issue of like Game Fan or like, EGM, and there'd be like a fucking demo disc in there.
EGM,
Like,
man.
this shit was so fucking cool. Oh, it's fucking Josh raiding with a party of 12.
Wonderful timing. We're apparently doing an entire episode just talking about Final Fantasy IX.
I know, we're just talking about Final Fantasy
John
9.
was like, hey, if my buddy boy is down, what if we just talked about their favorite Final Fantasy for an hour and a half?
That's kind of what I was thinking. That's kind of, hey, Josh, what the fuck is up, Josh?
Hang on.
And hey, real quick, before we go any further, since Josh is here,
I gotta slut it up a bit.
Derek, all right. Derek's got the fucking Derek's got the taco meat out.
I'm rebutting.
I do want to send a shout out to our good friend,
our good friend
our good friend Seffi over in Los Angeles.
Yes.
Obviously there is some pretty bad,
all the wildfire shit going on, fueled by
a lot
that
of bad shit
windstorm
happening
in California. That shit's horrifying.
And obviously, Seffi's out there, and so I just wanted to send her our.
We've got a
our
lot of friends in that area. Honestly,
we do have a lot of friends in that area. Yeah, but I was thinking about Seffi specifically earlier today. So Seffi, hope you're doing okay out there. But Final Fantasy IX, Derek. Final Fantasy IX came out in 1999. And it was
hey John,
again.
How old was I when Final Fantasy IX came out?
I don't know, Derek. What year were you born?
1991. John, I was 8 years old when Final Fantasy IX came out.
I was 19. Good for you. That's fantastic for you. I'm happy for you. Great. Final Fantasy IX is a return to the old school Final Fantasy games. You've got your thief, your black mage, your knight, your dragoon, your white mage, your summoner, even your monk / ninja. Everybody had a specific job that you couldn't change. And
interesting, after the last several games, 5, 6, 7, 8 all being very like customize your character and make them. 6 maybe less so because
yes, the secret topic is Final Fantasy. But it's Final Fantasy 9. It's not 6
reset
this time.
the clock.
It's 9. It's 9. So I was actually in basic training a few years after 9 came out. To just kind of comment on something in chat. But Final Fantasy 9 was not just a return to medieval form, but also a return to like the kind of squat, like super deformed looking characters of Final Fantasy 7. Because Final Fantasy 8 had like, human being looking people
like realistic proportions.
Yeah. And
to be
Final
fair,
Fantasy 9
7 was Seven didn't know what it wanted to do, right? Because you had the big heads outside of battle, and
you
then
had the blocky hands.
Then you had the realistic proportions as much as they could do in battle. Yeah, very.
But it's actually wild, like considering I think there's like a 2-year gap between Final Fantasy 7 and Final Fantasy 9. It is
it's insane
wild
how much visually,
visual fidelity and quality. Like I'm replaying 9 right now, and it is still just a delight to look at. Especially like I'm playing it on a Retroid Pocket 5, so I'm playing it on an OLED screen. And it just absolutely, and it makes me doubly more pissed off. I know it makes me doubly pissed off at the shoddy fucking port job that Square did with this game to modern console.
I don't know.
It's not great.
Mostly okay with the port job that we got.
I think it looks terrible.
Again, I think the Moguri mod. Granted, I'm playing it I played it again with the Moguri mod, which is like a necessity to me. But
I played it with the Moguri mod too. I tried to, and I just didn't like the way it looked. I need look, Derek. You know me. I need my crunchy, blocky pixels.
You want that 240i shit?
Dude, I fucking crave it. I love that shit. Put that shit right in my veins. Our main character for Final Fantasy 9 is Zidane, or Zidane if you're a fucking asshole. It's like the difference between foyer and foyer. If you say foyer, I'm gonna slap you in the fucking face and call you a prick.
No, I don't say foyer. I don't do that.
It's foyer if you're a fucking dickhead. Okay, and it's the same thing with Zidane.
It's Zidane.
It's not Zidane. It's Zidane.
It's Zidane.
Derek.
He says his name.
Derek. Are you aware of what a Great Dane is?
Yeah. Are you aware that Zidane is an actual name?
No. I get that. I get that.
Not a first name.
How do you pronounce the second word in Great Dane? Just say it. Just say the second word.
That's not.
Just say the second word, Derek.
It's
Derek,
Dane,
say the second
but that's
word.
Not.
Derek. Okay, Dane. Right. Put a Z-I at the Zidane. It's fucking Zidane.
Names
are
weird, John.
We're not fucking hoity-toity here.
It's Titus.
Okay. We're not fucking. It's Titus.
It's Kine.
It's Titus. I don't give a shit. And I'm sorry, Square. It's fucking Mako. It's not Mako.
Hey, you're live, bud.
Okay.
Yeah, I know I'm live. No, because you just pissed me off when you said it's Titus.
Titus.
I will actually join you in you saying Zidane. That's fine. I will accept that because you're right.
Why don't you just get on the fucking call, Josh?
Because that's also a real name. That shit is in the Bible. I'm
Josh,
not even
just
going to
get
get into tide and water and all of that being its theme. It's in the Bible. I was so mad you said that, I literally had to call you.
It's Titus.
Tell Josh to just get on the call.
You son of a bitch. I love you.
I love you too. Mwah. Also, it's Kine.
I'm gonna send him a fucking text message right now. Just tell him to get on the call.
It's not Kane. It's Kine.
What the fuck? By the way, it's not.
It is Kine.
It's not Cecil. It's Cecil.
It is Cecil.
And it's not Kine. What the fuck is Kine?
It's Kine.
It's Kane.
It's Kine.
It's Kane. You are a fucking asshole idiot. It's Kane.
Dissidia gave us actual pronunciations for these names for the first time in ages. It's Kine.
And I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. I said it while Josh was calling in. It's fucking Mako. It's not Mako. I don't give a shit, Square.
It should be Mako, but it's Mako.
Mako.
Remember when they were like, by the way, it's Kate Sith, and I was like, and half of the internet was collectively like, we're gonna fight you.
That actually makes sense to me because I just refuse to say Ketchi. That doesn't make any fucking sense.
John, I don't have a lot of Irish blood in me, okay? I don't. However, every drop of Irish blood in me wants to fight you for willfully disrespecting the pronunciation.
I'm sorry for disrespecting a fucking cat demon based
Well,
in
that's actually
Gaelic
is that
folklore.
Irish? Or is it, I don't know. I don't actually know. I'm not. I'm
It's
fucking
Irish.
French.
It's Irish.
Okay, I'm French and
It's
Dutch.
Irish.
I don't
well,
know
technically,
shit.
it's Gaelic. It's Gaelic to be fucking specific.
Yeah,
Derek,
look. I'm
all
gonna
right?
be honest with
Once
you.
you fucking
those-
bone up, once you fucking bone up on your goddamn
Those two islands, I don't give a shit about them. Other than the fact that the Irish rule. So,
well, then
Siobhan.
what the fuck are you giving? What are you giving me? It's Siobhan.
It's Siobhan.
Siobhan.
It's like a V sound. It's a soft. It's like Siobhan. So yeah, I know all about gay licks, motherfucker.
I just sent Josh.
I went to college.
I just sent Josh a text message, but just get on the fucking call, Josh. What?
He might be burnt
don't-
out. He just got done
you don't need to
streaming
call
a
in.
bunch.
Anyway, our hero Zidane.
It's Don.
Okay, a Zidane. Derek, he has a monkey tail. Why does he have a monkey tail?
Because they thought it would look cool. Do you want a
This was-
Watsonian or a fucking
This was what- this was what-
Doylean explanation?
This was one of the first things that jumped out at me about Final Fantasy IX when I first fired it up, is that Zidane had a fucking tail. He had a monkey tail.
You got to add him to the call, John. He can't
I'll
just
add him
bust
to the
in.
call. I'll fucking add him to the call then. Like it's not that big of a deal.
Oh! Ah! How did this happen?
John, you fucking broke it.
There, but Derek fixed it, so
Hold
it's
on,
fine
'cause
now.
I have to unmute. Okay, I can hear
No,
you.
you're good.
No, I couldn't hear you. Hold
Oh.
on. Let me. Skidoo? Is it working?
Yeah.
Hey!
I'm here to.
Hey,
fucking
I'm
break
crashing
shit.
the party,
I'm here to break
motherfuckers.
shit. Look at this. Look at this shit. Hey,
That's good. I
hey,
need friends because
Josh,
I don't fucking have any.
One Josh. It is Titus. It is Zidane.
It's
And,
Titus.
and welcome.
Well, hi. How y'all doing? Hi, I'm
Yeah.
Josh. I'm also an Orion. I go by both names. One's
You
like
are
a real name and one's like a
You
face.
guys are doing some voiced Chrono Trigger action. Actually.
We are. Okay, so first of all, because I have to address it, it's Titus. Again,
Titus.
it's a real name.
It
It
is
is in
Titus.
the Bible. It's in the Bible.
And
It's
everybody
a
knows.
biblical.
It's in the Bibble.
And also, even if it wasn't in there, he interacts with water. He plays blitzball. His sword is made out of water.
I'm
The
saying
tide.
it would make sense.
It's
However,
like
you-
celestial.
Are you saying that
Titus.
Titus? Are you saying that Titus is an instrument of God? 'Cause he's
No,
in the Bible.
no, I'm saying Tidus. Tide, like water. But also, I'm saying it's a real name we already have and know.
Josh, tide us. Okay.
Okay, I will
Tide
tide you.
us.
But yes,
Tide.
so as mentioned, what up, everybody? How you doing? Pronouns he/bear. Basically.
so you know that in fucking Hepburn, Titus's name is Tita, right? Like this is
I don't
is born
fucking
out
give a
in.
shit. Who cares? We're talking about Final
Okay.
Fantasy IX.
No.
I'm just saying it's
You're
born out in
totally
the
right.
original Japanese pronunciation.
You're totally right, Derek. Actually, I completely put away my point, which is why I'm sure that you refer to the muscular Figaro brother who can suplex a train as MASH. Oh,
You
I'm
might have me
sorry.
here.
I mean,
Oh, I'm sorry. The
He's got you there,
Japanese
Derek.
name is not
Okay,
always
but the English
same?
name is
He's
also
got-
Titus. Is the
he's
problem.
got you there. No,
Did
Derek,
you
he's
just try
got you
to
there.
deep throat a water bottle? You just went fucking.
I did with rage. I tried to deep throat a water bottle
just
with
fucking-
rage.
By the way, hey, Josh, did I tell you that I've got some coasters coming in that are
You
based on-
motherfucker, we had an argument about it on the timeline.
Yeah.
Because you messaged me and then I put it on the timeline. Top 10 anime betrayals. Because again, if anyone should have Suikoden coasters, I don't fucking know. Who do you think it should be? For those of you who are listening
I'll
in
tell you what.
podcast form, I
tell
am
you
pointing to the giant
I'll tell
Suikoden
you
2
what.
flag that
I'll tell you what.
flies
I'll tell you
behind
what.
me.
Josh,
Oh, you know what? Hold on. Before you tell me, continue.
text me your address and I will send you some tonight.
I don't know.
He's got to keep going. He's got to roll.
Hey,
I don't know. You tell me.
Josh, I'm just
For
as excited
audio
for
listeners,
I-
there's Suikoden posters and
Flying all
artwork.
over the
that
place.
was the official vinyl.
Oh shit!
That's the
So-
vinyl to the game.
So, Josh, I am just as excited about March 8th as you are. I'm taking the
Yes.
day off of work for this one.
Not a bad
I-
call.
Text me your address and I will,
I will
make sure
hit
you
you
get
up.
coasters.
I'll
I
be
will
too
hit
busy
you up.
playing Monster
Oh,
Hunter, sadly.
No,
But
so
I love you all.
Final
dearly.
Fan. Okay, so hold on. I want Josh to plug his Chrono Trigger stuff real quick.
Well, for what I was going to say is first, because you brought up Sephi, many people who are in chat know Sephi, things like that. I mentioned it in chat, but I do just want to say Sephi is safe right now. She's all good.
Okay, good,
I was talking
good.
with her yesterday. I was up with her on a
Just
first
a
on phone,
fucking
then on Discord call till like 2
horrible
in the morning,
situation.
making sure that she stayed calm, that she was good, that she had resources if she needed it. She's safe. And then I just got updated a couple of hours ago before I started streaming. I was like, hey, I want to check in. Are you good? We spoke. She's safe. She's good. So she's all fine right now. And she does, even if she does have to leave where she's at, first of all, where she is safe, but even if she has to leave, she has secured someone who can grab her and get her out of there. So we've got our bases covered. So I wanted to say that. And then I'm also bringing up Sephi because the Chrono Trigger thing you mentioned, that's actually Sephi's project. She just brought me on to be a part of it.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I'm going to be a part of it for the foreseeable future. So we are getting together. It's called W. It's on her channel, twitch.tv.
That's a cool name. That's
right?
a cool name. Yeah, that's a good name.
And we're dubbing old RPGs and games. And the first one we're doing is Chrono Trigger. So we're taking it serious. We're also going to improv a bit, but we're like genuinely dubbing a bunch of the lines and treating it like it's a real thing. Our first one is Chrono Trigger, and then some of the upcoming ones we plan on doing are like FF6. We're probably going to do FF9. It's going to be a good time. But you're going
to give me a cameo for Final Fantasy VI, right?
We might have to. It's going to be me, her, there's our friend Willow Faye, who is another voice actor, and there are several voice actors she has planned who have already signed on. They're going to be a part of it, either in like guest form or in recurring form. Sam Bayart's going to be there. Her friend Damian Haas is going to be there. Things like this. So we got lots of people who are signed on. So it's going to be a good time. And then it was also funny timing because on my own channel, twitch.tv/Anorian, or if you go on youtube.com/@AnorianGD, because Anorian is taken by me years ago, but I can't get it back.
You played yourself.
So the problem is I made an account to post a video before like having a Gmail and a YouTube was a thing. And now I even paid for YouTube One so I could get like phone support and tech support and try to talk someone. You can't, like, they don't have a way to reconcile it on the back end.
Google doesn't do things correctly.
Right. No. But they literally don't have a way to reconcile on the back end. I don't have a way to get that account, even though there is technically no Anorian@gmail.com. It's just like some weird dead glitch in the back, and they can't fix it. Unless you're like super rich, and I'm a broke boy. Yeah. So, but what I've been doing lately on my channels is I've started a series of RPG challenge runs. Which I stream the whole thing, and then I'll be editing them down into like a condensed video, kind of explaining the whole run and what it was like and what I went through the whole thing. The first one I did was Final Fantasy IV with only Edward. The second one I did, which I hacked him in through the whole thing. That was a fun time. The second one I did was Chrono Trigger with only Frog, which is why this current voice acting thing was fitting. And I just finished what I called Final Fantasy I with a composite Red Mage party, which is Red Mages can do 4 things. They can wield weapons, they can wear armor, they can use white magic, and they can use black magic.
Fuck.
So I have one Red Mage who can only equip armor and defend or use armor as items. One who can only equip weapons and attack or use weapons as items. And the other 2 can't equip anything, but one could learn white magic and one could learn black magic.
That doesn't sound like fun.
Collectively, it was actually very fun having to figure out strategies.
You have 1 red mage.
Collectively, I have 1 red mage. But it was a good time. I actually just beat Chaos tonight. It took so many fucking tries to finally get
honestly, Chaos is a bit of a bitch to fight at the best of times.
No,
so.
I had 9 party wipes before I attempted Chaos.
With a regular party, he's unreasonably difficult. Like he's pretty hard.
Because I got to him at level 41. I had to get up to level 59, and from A to B, I had 33 full wipes on him. It was a time. But it's good. And the next one, which I'm starting this weekend, is going to be Unicorn Overlord with all girls.
Yo.
Nice.
It's going to be a fun time. But yeah, like I said, I'm taking them, condense them down. Gonna be good shit. So if that's your shtick, go on YouTube, search Anoriand, ANORIAND, and you'll find me. It's gonna be
all right. Switching gears back to Final Fantasy IX.
Back to the stuff.
Back to 9.
Sure.
Zidane is a. I'm gonna continue saying Zidane. Derek can say Zidane. It's fine. Zidane continues up to this point anyway, the Final Fantasy tradition of that I want to say was set in 4, in that every protagonist has something special about them.
That's how protagonists usually work in anything, John.
But like they're either but like in Final Fantasy specifically, they're either not human, or their memories were gone, or like they're a fucking clone of something, or and by the way, again, spoilers for a fucking game that came out in 1999. We will eventually find out that Zidane, believe it or not, is not all that he seems.
I think technically that doesn't apply to Squall. Like, they have the whole memory loss thing, but he doesn't really have, like,
there's nothing. He's just a guy.
He's a guy who uses a gun sword.
Yeah.
Terra was a fucking half Esper.
Right.
Squall is really only important because of the connection he makes with somebody who is.
Well, you know what? I'm wrong. I guess there was nothing really special about Bartz either.
Oh, yes, there is. He's the son of one of the 4 warriors of light.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
and you're right. You find out about him last out of everyone,
right?
Because you figure out the whole shit with Ferris and Lena in World 1. You figure out the shit with Galuf in World 1. You don't find out about the shit with Bartz.
I don't want to. I can't show my face anymore.
I'm done.
Sorry, no, I had a light problem. Sorry about that.
Okay.
But yeah, so there's a reason that Zidane has his monkey tail.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, there's not really, but
no, there is. Like, he is part of a race of beings that are supposed to be vessels for the souls of the people of Terra, and for whatever plot reason, they all have monkey tails.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is the monkey tails thing is kind of arbitrary. It's not. It's there because they thought it would be fun. Like,
yeah, they don't ever really. And you know what? He only uses his monkey tail once as like a actual prehensile tail. He only uses it once throughout the entire game.
It's like to hang from the rafters of the ship cabin.
From the raft, exactly.
With
Derek.
one of the black waltzes. Yeah.
Yes, that's the only. No, it's when Steiner's like throwing a punch at him, but it's on the ship.
Mm-hmm. But it's in that same section, but yeah.
But it's the only time that you see this guy with a prehensile tail actually use his tail as a fifth limb,
right?
Which Derek, don't.
I wasn't gonna say anything.
Derek,
6th.
Jesus Christ. But it's actually I would consider Zidane to be the co-protagonist along with another character named Vivi.
You know what, though? Here's the thing. I think what makes 9... it's not that I'm not going to... It's not that I'm going to disagree with you about Vivi's importance, but FF9 balances its... Other than fucking Quina and Amarant, who do feel very much like afterthoughts.
Amarant is absolutely like, they were done with the game and they were like, oh shit, we need a fucking monk.
Yeah,
we need an 8th person. Where is it?
we need a fucking monk with the throw command. Shit, come up with a blue, create this blue guy with red dreadlocks.
It's a shame. Amarant's design is great, and there's Amarant has the bones of a great character. We'll get to Amarant more, I guess, but like, it doesn't matter because they don't do anything with him compared to like Quina, who Quina is a fucking nightmare.
A joke character.
Yeah, a joke character that just gets...
Who's actually pretty good if you know how to use
the
Quina.
Blue Mage.
Like,
right.
But like, here's the thing. Zidane, Vivi, Steiner, Garnet, Freya, Eiko, all get so much time in the spotlight.
Point I'll push back on there, and it's not even really pushing back, it's just like getting into the weeds a bit, but is Freya does get plenty of story. It's so front loaded.
I think like, Freya and Eiko are backwards, right? Because Freya's front loaded and then she
gets all her shit and then dovetails off, and then that kind of is like now.
And then Eiko comes in and Eiko gets all her story in the back half.
Right.
I would say that, like,
but
after
they both do get a good chunk, so I don't want to be like, oh, she gets nothing. No,
I see what you're saying though. Like after Clara though, like she doesn't really get a whole lot of character development.
She doesn't like, and I understand why, but also like, there's still things you could have done. Like, I get it with, say, Beatrix, that so much of what she did, they kind of wrapped into Steiner and like their foils, but ultimately so much of what they are is the same at their core.
Right.
Well, I want to,
Despite the outside, this, that, the other. But you could have had Freya alongside Beatrix just as much and had it be like how they're both honorable warriors who are, even though they're women, they are the prime example of their people, and so on and so forth.
You can tell
Well, I wanna-
also that FF9 is a game that has, I'm not going to call it unfinished, but you can tell that a lot of stuff got left on the cutting room floor and that they moved ahead with something that wasn't fully wrapped up. Does that make sense?
it does.
Yes.
It does. I actually I want to circle back to
That's
Vivi and the
Final
Black
Fantasy,
Mages
though.
real quick.
Yeah.
Because as colorful and lighthearted and whimsical as Final Fantasy IX appears on the surface, there is a conversation to be had about Vivi and the Black Mages circling around the concept of life and death and what it means to be an individual. That like
I think
the,
Vivi best embodies the actual themes of FF9, which is the themes of like mortality, of limited life, of what you're going to do with the little time that you have on this earth.
because Vivi is a child. Like Vivi is a child, and Vivi brings both a childlike wonder, but also a very mature, world-weary attitude that I think, I think Vivi is one of Final Fantasy's top 3 characters. Like simply not just for his characterization, but for his growth, like his acceptance of who he is, and the fact that he might not have a whole lot of time here. And he's going to make, there's a moment that really summed up kind of the themes for Final Fantasy IX for me, and it was when you first get to the Black Mage Village, and there's that one Black Mage elder who's a lot more world wise than the rest of the Black Mages, because they're all very childlike, right? And they were talking about how like none of them have names except for Vivi, right? They all have, it's all like Black Mage number whatever.
Waltz.
No,
the Black Mages,
the waltzes.
though.
Yeah, the waltzes are like there's only 3 waltzes.
I didn't know. No.
Yeah, because the Black
I don't know
Mages,
why I was
You're good.
thinking
You're good.
I
the
got
Black
it.
Mages in the
But-
village are named like Mr. Number.
Right.
Yeah, but there was a moment where one of the Black Mages was like, Mr. So and So, fell down the other day and didn't move, so we put him on the ground. I'm sure he's very dirty now. I need to get him out and take him down to the river to wash him, like wash him off. And he just kind of walks off, and the leader of the Black Mage Village was basically like, yeah, they don't understand that none of their friends who have fallen down are coming back. And Vivi says, am I going to stop too? Like the term they use is stopping, like he stopped, right?
Yeah.
And Vivi says, am I going to stop too? At that moment, like fucking, when I was 19, dude, I wasn't
rough, man.
fucking expecting that. Like, because yes, Vivi, you are going to stop. And like it's one thing to think about.
Remember
like
how I
characters
said
like,
I was 8 when Final Fantasy IX came out?
well, it's exploring a theme that was at that point like alien to Final Fantasy, and that's like the mortality of a child, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's one thing for like Palom and Porum and 4 to turn themselves to stone, right? And like block a wall. I mean, they come back and they're like, yeah, we got saved. Like,
They
but
come
with
back, but even in the moment, it's like this big, heroic, grand gesture thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's something different between like a heroic sacrifice versus
just
the
knowing
cruel,
that-
indifferent passing of time.
This is going to be
Yeah.
possibly a bit triggering for people. So if if it's a little rough and you got you're listening and you got to step away for a second, cool. You got to skip ahead, cool. And I'm not going to get too into it, but like the easiest essential way to talk about it is like Vivi's story is very, very similar and to like the idea of a child
It's like
who
a
has
terminally ill child.
illness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like a kid who has cancer or something along those lines. And
that's
at first they're
actually
fighting
a
and they're
really
trying-
great.
And early on, they're fighting and they hear all this stuff about how you're going to make it and you're going to hear everything. but then eventually things aren't actually going away and aren't healing, and they are facing the mortality. And you see with so many kids these stories of like how they end up growing past their years in their moment and being there for the parents and things like that. And it's like seeing that play out in a game and understanding the metaphor is just like, oh, damn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Vivi is such. Go ahead, please.
No. I was done.
Vivi is such a beautifully written character. And then you have Steiner, Adalbert Steiner, who is the leader of the Knights of Pluto.
Originally very much a joke character.
I'm waiting for your take here.
Because I have the take on Steiner.
Please do.
Steiner is not a character I appreciated when I was young, right? Because he starts off as the joke character, as the stick in the mud, and it seems when you're young like he never gets better. Like he's always the overly serious knight type of character.
I like where this is going. We'll
now, as an older person, and this is something that hit me hardest, I think every time I play it, it lands better, but I haven't played it in a while. So playing it this most recent time, it really landed with me that Steiner's story and his arc is about the shift from blind loyalty to actual philosophy and belief, right? That it's not just about I serve the queen, I serve the princess. It is about I serve the things that I believe are right. And in that way, I've actually gained a lot of appreciation for Steiner's arc, as somebody who, like, it's not about him changing his personality. It's about him finding an actual good reason and purpose rather than, like I said, blind devotion.
So
before the game came out, they had pictures of there was splash pictures that are made.
Yes, I remember those. Yeah.
And it's like every character in some sort of a moment with a line
with a quote from
Steiner's exact line was, having sworn fealty, must I spend my life in servitude.
Yep. Sorry, I wanted to quote it with you because I love.
No,
that
that's
line.
fine. Yeah. It's fine. Absolutely.
So you know what? You know how I would describe Steiner? Bear with me. Steiner, I think this sums it up perfectly. Steiner is a flat earther slowly learning that the world is round.
In a lot of ways. Yeah.
Yeah. That or something to the tune of for lack of, if we can be, relevant to the times, it's someone who is fully entrenched in Fox News and MAGA and everything else, who is somehow being talked to by people around them and finally going, oh, this shit is not actually it.
Yeah. Hey, can I hit with something, John, that'll hit you in a way that you maybe haven't thought about? Because you tend to see this in serious characters, and Steiner is a very comedic character, right? But Steiner mirrors the story of people who join the military when they're young and learn to follow their country and follow their presidents and follow their orders simply because that is the thing that is right, and then leave the military and then have to find and discover some actual fucking theory and philosophy, right? Have to form a belief.
Discover who they are and the truth of the world.
And it's not about becoming a different person. Again, that's why I actually think it's fascinating that Steiner does not have a major personality shift, right? Steiner is Steiner. It's not that he was the wrong person who needed to grow. He needed to find the correct reason. And even if that did not change his path, it is an important piece of internal growth to be doing mostly the right things for better reasons.
The best way I could describe it is Steiner at the beginning of the game is loyal to Queen Braun and Alexandria.
Yeah.
And as the game progresses, and by the time you get later on and whatever, Steiner finds he is loyal to the people of Alexandria and those he was sworn to protect. Not the country, not the rulers, the people.
Yes.
He also wants
what you're supposed to do.
He also wants to bone Beatrix. He just doesn't.
And should.
Yeah, I mean that's who doesn't,
I
right?
mean, you know. Then we have Garnet / Dagger, our white mage of the party, Princess of Alexandria, adopted daughter to Queen Braun. And is it confirmed or heavily implied that she's Aiko's sister or relation?
They're related almost certainly, but it's because the summoners like were not like a very broad.
I seem to remember like it hinting that they were related,
but I don't think they're
somehow.
meant to be sisters. I think it's distant.
Um,
I'm gonna say Garnet is my favorite like Final Fantasy like female lead.
Interesting.
In the franchise, and I'll tell you why. Garnet's story, especially at the time that I was playing FF9, right? Garnet is a character with so much internal like philosophy, belief, like dialogue with herself, in a way that even within Final Fantasy did pretty good with women characters for a long time, up until 15. You know, not to say they all hit, but like Final Fantasy had a pretty good run. Garnet stands out as a character who she's the love interest, yes, right? Obviously, she's set up from the beginning as the love interest, but it quickly becomes clear that viewing Garnet as the love interest character is a drastic disservice to the character herself, who is probably the most important person almost certainly the most important person in the cast. And in fact, I mean, like Zidane's whole arc is having to go from for the early part of the game is having to go from this is the girl that I like, and because I like her, she is important, to going, this is a girl who is important, and my feelings to her literally mean nothing. Right?
Yeah.
It is not important compared to her role in this world. And accepting that, and accepting that he is not the protagonist, she is, right? At least as far as the people of Alexandria, is one of the biggest pieces of character growth that any Final Fantasy protagonist goes through.
Her design is also fucking great.
Oh yeah.
Like, and there's a really cool moment. I would say probably like, I don't know, 3/4 of the way through the game, maybe a little less than that.
The classic haircut, right?
Yeah. The haircut, which is like very symbolic of, at that point she has fully adopted the identity of Dagger. And
Josh, you good,
she is kind of, she's kind of just like symbolically cutting herself from the past. Like slicing away that part of herself that was a princess. Just a lot of great symbolism with Garnet / Dagger.
She passes the Bechdel test.
She does.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the whole female cast of FF9 does. Like that's
Quina and Amaranth. Like, there's really not a whole lot to fucking say here. Quina is, like you said, a good character to have in your party if you know how to use Quina's abilities. I will say, the first non-binary character that I know of in the Final Fantasy franchise.
We don't want them as representation. Please take them away.
I'm just saying. Like,
I don't want Quina to be the one that represents me.
I'm just saying, Quina was the trailblazer, man.
Derek, I need you to understand. They're going to drop this Final Fantasy IX full remake that they've been talking about.
Yeah.
It's finally going to happen. It's going to be the big budget production of your dreams. And during the game, at some point, you're going to get to Quina, who's going to look dead at the screen and just say, "Me gender fluid." And you're just going to have to live in that world.
And Steiner is simply going to look directly at the camera and say, "They're so brave for saying that."
Yes. You're just going to have to accept that. No. Of course you have a bonnet.
No,
pronouns.
Steiner's gonna roll his eyes and say "stunning and brave." That's what Steiner's gonna do.
Yes.
That's what Steiner's gonna do. But then he's gonna realize that he can accept Quina for who they are.
Yeah,
right.
Well, and then I know we kind of glossed over Freya.
Well, Freya, so here's the thing with Freya. Like, I think Freya is a really badass character. With the beginning of a really cool story arc, her and Sir Fratley. that kind of like really comes to a head in Clara and that is never fucking touched
Freya
again.
is a sick ass character who
Um,
doesn't have a complete arc, but the character herself is
like,
casually one of the best fucking characters in the entire franchise.
My hot take is a character is allowed to character can be great that doesn't show growth per se.
A static
if you
character.
show me a dope character.
Yeah.
And I think my proof there, and this is where again, hot take, is Zidane. Zidane doesn't actually show growth in it. Like, he shows growth in how he views, for instance, like the respect towards Dagger, something like that. But as a person, he doesn't really grow. What it is he is the happy-go-lucky dude who is always got the energy. He's always got the spirit. He's always going to figure out a way.
Zidane learns to grow up.
Until he doesn't.
Yeah. Zidane learns how to grow up.
You get broken because you see him in Memoria and you're like,
yeah.
Oh, he is shattered. He has never been in a situation where he's like, I am a shattered, broken human, quote unquote. I do not have the answers. I do not know what to do. And so he doesn't really grow so much as he learns how to deal with that emotion, which I guess is growth. But like, he just kind of returns to what he was. He has to learn how to deal with that.
And that has absolutely no
relevance
parallels
to anything ever.
I
like
wasn't about 5 minutes ago about to say that instead of Quina, the character I find representation in is fucking Zidane.
It also that
right
that
now?
sequence also has some of the
Save that
greatest
for
music in the
post-podcast.
entire.
No Love You're Not Alone is just
You're
hearing
Not
that
Alone is
play
one of my favorite,
and him just literally they even have him
dragging
he's
his
just dragging himself
Yeah.
through. He's like, what is the point of anything? And it takes all of these people who he has been there for over
You're
and over
Not
again,
Alone.
coming there and being there for him.
I maintain that You're Not Alone is one of the greatest pieces of Final Fantasy music.
Yeah.
It is,
And it's
but
difficult
sadly,
because-
it's not even the best track in the game.
Well,
But that's
no,
fine.
but
But
It's
yeah,
good.
that's the deal with Freya. And then we have Aiko. You know, Aiko is one of the characters you get later on. I don't think Aiko comes
I
into
actually
play
can't correct you on her pronunciation because I don't know it because it's never been said out loud.
I think it's like
I want to say it's
Aiko.
Aiko, but looking at how Japanese vowels are usually pronounced, but I couldn't promise you that.
At any rate, another white mage / summoner character like Garnet. No surprise because it turns out that they are from the same summoner village. Garnet simply had her horn removed when she washed up on the shores of Alexandria. Aiko has a really cool Aiko actually has a really pivotal story moment revolving her Moogle does Mog involving trance. There's a really
it
cool
should be
moment.
Aiko.
You know what? I'm gonna fucking stick with Aiko because that's what I know. That's how I've been pronouncing it my
Dead
whole
naming
life.
people left and right.
That's,
You
that's how I'm gonna
disrespectful
fucking.
motherfucker.
That's how I'm gonna fucking. I'm a disrespect. I don't give a shit. Fuck you. I'll disrespect you right now. But Aiko, I thought was your stereotypical like child character. Like a lot of Final Fantasy games have them.
She's another character I did not appreciate when I was younger, and I do more when I'm grown up.
I think she's okay. She's not my favorite character.
She's not meant to be. Here's again hot take, right? I don't think she's meant to be liked in the way that you tend to like characters. But the thing is, she is a representation of a young child who had to raise herself in isolation and force herself to try and grow up too early.
Well, she had Moogles to help her.
The dog raised literally by wolves. You know what I mean? Like, it's a step up, but like, so I think Aiko is interesting in the way that she is, a version of like a young person who is trying too hard to be an adult, but not because of like an insecurity, but because it's the only thing they know. And the fact that Aiko still manages to put a lot of that childishness behind her when she recognizes the world is not, like that things don't revolve around her because again, she's selfish. She's been the only
She's
person.
a little fucking shit, dude.
She's what?
Yes,
10?
but yeah, like
my son wasn't a little shit when he was 10.
Yes,
like
he
why
was,
should-
Your
dude.
son was raised by parents.
My son was raised by a fucking
If
responsible
your son was
adult.
raised by a couple of Kawokas, I don't know that he's going to turn out the same.
Who are you calling Kawok?
I don't like
I don't know. This isn't good.
at all.
Yeah, I thought
your son was raised by humans.
Yeah.
Aiko is a cool character. She's just not my favorite.
I
Yes,
get it.
She's not meant to be.
Yes.
Again.
Yes, Britt and Chad said John really said fuck them kids, and yeah, fuck them. Like I don't think she shows half the depth that Vivi does. I think Garnet's a stronger character.
You can't just have two Vivis. Like you got to have.
Yeah, but you know, like, and then we have Quina and Amarant, who like, okay.
They fill out the party.
They're there. Like Quinn is your blue mage, Amarant is your monk / ninja. Amarant is hinted to have a history with Zidane that
It's
absolutely
not
never.
hinted at. It's they go
Well,
into it. He was a bodyguard for a or like a
Yeah,
guard.
but they don't ever really flesh it out at all.
because there's nothing to flesh
Like,
out because it's petty. Because he was just a guard
It's
at a place
stupid,
that
like-
Zidane robbed, and that's it. And he held a grudge over.
He's
over
just
it.
there. Like he's just
he
there.
is just there
Like,
because he's stupid and petty and a
he's
shitty character.
He's just a bad character.
Mechanically, one of the best.
Yeah, he's a good character to
Storyline-wise,
have in your party.
worthless.
He's
I
a good
like that
character to
his
have in your
head
party.
shoots
Worthless.
directly forward, right? Like his neck
He's just
doesn't
like-
go. He's got the fucking.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's like, ugh.
100%. But like, if you're
This
doing,
is
if you're
Amaranth
trying
right
to do
here.
like low level shit or whatever, integral. If you remove him from the story, nothing changes. Nothing changes.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Not a damn.
I
thing.
love that. I love that the last
So-
thing that happens is that he
Which
goes,
is-
"I'm gonna fucking race you for it," and then gets his ass beat and has to be like,
Which-
"Okay, I guess you're not gonna kill me. I'll stay in the
I
party
can already
now."
tell.
The
I
most
can already
frustrating
tell.
part about it is instead of him, they could have just had all the story development and everything for Beatrix, have her join as a character, or even if you're like, well, she's meant to be a boss. Cool, fine. Let's
Bosses
put that
join
aside.
the party all the time.
I know, but what I'm saying is, even if you're like, their whole thing is they wanted her to be so unfairly strong, and you use her briefly, and that's it. Kind of like how you have the 10 minutes with Sephiroth and 7. Sure, fine, I'll walk you to that bridge. Then use Blank.
Yeah,
Blank was a cool fucking.
He was
character,
right
dude.
there from the
Like,
beginning of the game.
You had Blank-
He restores after a certain point. You could have used him,
Okay, so
and people like him.
So this kind of like, speaking of other characters in the game, I want to pivot into another very important character in Final Fantasy IX, and that is our antagonist, our villain,
Yes,
the weapons dealer Kuja.
that's the hottest woman I ever did see.
Kuja is
it? Josh, are you finally comfortable being able to express your attraction to Kuja? Did things?
I was always comfortable to express my attraction to Kuja.
right. It took you a little. Never mind. I'm not
Kuja's-
gonna.
no,
I'm not gonna
right.
give you shit. I'm
No,
not gonna.
no, that's fine. You can give me whatever shit you
No.
want because of the pan thing, whatever. I don't
Right.
care. I already said it publicly. But what I'm saying is,
I know. That's why I was
Kuja
willing to
oh,
give you shit in the
even
first
as a kid-
place.
right? Even as a kid, I was always like,
Yeah, I
There
was
were-
like,
there were
who's that
signs.
bad bitch?
there were signs. There were signs.
Kuja has I would rank Kuja in the higher echelon of Final Fantasy
One second.
villains.
I'm still listening. I'm just saying goodnight to my kids real quick. So you're
Yeah.
gonna mute.
I would rank Derek, and you tell me if you disagree. I would rank Kuja up there in the upper echelon of Final Fantasy villains. Kuja was a very well written character with like ultimately
I think Kuja
his,
has maybe the
his-
best reasons out of almost any of the Final Fantasy like secondary villains to be the way that they are.
I don't think he's the secondary villain. Like he's the main
okay.
villain. Like
He's well, it's complicated because you got him, you've got Garland, who is arguably the
Garland is-
larger scope villain.
yeah, but Garland is like so like there's a lot of parallels I think between Kuja and Garland and Kefka and Gestalt from Final Fantasy VI.
Yes,
right?
Yes, absolutely.
Like even in the way that Kuja dispatches Garland.
Except for the fact that in the end, Kefka is the threat, and Kuja
I mean, I would say
ultimately.
Kuja's is the threat
Kuja's
also.
a
Like
personal
Kuja,
threat. Kuja's closer to a Golbez. Do you know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah, but-
That's
yeah,
what I
but
mean.
Kuja's
Yes,
try-
because of the
but-
big reveal with Zeromus at the very end.
Right.
But Kuja is trying like so Garland's interest is not in destroying the world. That's Kuja's interest. Like Garland simply
Yes,
wants
but it's only
to save the Terrans.
Yeah, but that's not the point. Like, Kuja doesn't exist without Garland, and dispatching Kuja does not stop the threat to both worlds. Right.
But it's Kuja's fault that threat, which is Necron, which is
it's Garland's fault.
Which
it's Necron's
really...
fault. No, it's Kuja's fault because Kuja tried to destroy the crystal. Or he did destroy the crystal. All Garland wanted to do was use the what are they called? The genomes.
This is where it doesn't help that Necron is so poorly explained.
I hate Necron is as frustrating to me as, and mind you, it is the same level of I love this game, but that I have with Zeromus, and that I also frankly have with, I brought this up a bunch when I was doing my recent Chrono Trigger Frog Only run. The core battle of Lavos. You spend this whole fucking game
I thought it was brilliant,
giving me this major antagonist,
and it's
and then you literally at the final second throw some new shit in.
Final Fantasy is so addicted to that. Final Fantasy.
You're talking about see, here's my thing with the Lavos thing. What pisses me off about Lavos is when you think of, if I tell you Lavos, there's not a human alive who imagines the creature inside. They imagine the gigantic fucking parasitic monster and the scream and all that. We make whatever jokes you're gonna make about the scream. That's what you think of. They could have had I get it. You want a multi-part boss fight. You could have had multiple parts outside of it to fight. Or if you're saying, okay, but we need to go in and fight its core. Cool. I even brought this up as an idea. You know what you could have done? The whole thing that triggers Lavos and makes it like it comes out, whatever, with Zeal using the Mammon machine. You break the exterior of the shell, you go inside, and its insides are warped to look like the Mammon machine. The interior of Lavos has been completely warped by Zeal's evil energy and has to be destroyed. That would work. Instead, he's just a giant mech suit.
I really like the reveal of Lavos. He's just an alien. He's an alien. He's an alien.
Exactly.
But kind of stepping away from that,
But what I'm saying is with Necron, it's just like
Necron
here's
just comes
Necron.
Out of nowhere. He quotes Yoda, and
Necron's
then you
like
fight
the
him.
cloud of darkness, right? It's just a complete out of nowhere. Like, we have a bigger final boss for you.
I would say even more
than Cloud of Darkness.
Yeah, because
Necron's
because
the worst one.
Cloud of Darkness is coming. At least by the time you hit the final dungeon, you find out about Necron
when
5 minutes before you fight him.
Yeah, no, when you get to Kuja,
it's just like, this is the big evil.
Because
shit, what? Well, he's here now.
The first time I ever beat Final Fantasy IX, way back in 1999, after you beat Kuja's trans Kuja form, and you wake up, and there's a disembodied voice talking to you. It was like, okay, here's the second part of the battle with Kuja. Then I'm like, what the fuck is Necron? And first I was like, am I fighting Yoda? Why is he quoting Yoda? But then you fight a big bald blue man with rings flying around his body, and I can relate to that because now I am also a big bald man. Blue man with rings floating around my body.
Right.
But yeah, but Kuja himself, I think, was I love Kuja for the same reason I love Kefka, and that they're both very this will mean something to you both. Back in the day, like Final Fantasy IV. Let's take Final Fantasy IV, right? Your main villain for the majority of the game is fucking Golbez, right? Like we know Golbez isn't the main villain, but for the majority of the game,
you don't know that till the very end, basically.
But he only shows up every now and then. He flies in on his airship, and he's like, his funeral dirge music pops up, and he's like, ho ho ho, here I am, and then he leaves, right? Mm-hmm. Kefka and Kuja are in your fucking face the entire game.
Oh, the whole game,
right?
Yeah.
Like Kuja is constantly fucking with you.
I think the thing is though that we're
well, hold on real quick. There's a moment with Kuja that really sold me on just what a fucking asshole this guy is.
Clara?
And it's in the Desert Palace when he's like, I picked you. He's like, this palace runs on magic. And well, then why did you pick us? Because you're too stupid to use magic. And I was like, oh, I fucking love this guy. Like, this guy fucking rules. And I love the idea that he hid his tail and dressed the way he did to be different from the rest of the genomes that Garland had created. And there are, it's no secret that Final Fantasy VI is my favorite game, and Kefka is my favorite Final Fantasy villain. There is a lot of Kefka in Kuja. especially in the manner that he takes out Garland. He literally takes out Garland the exact same way that Kefka took out Gestalt. He turns on him, kicks him and a couple times, then kicks him off a cliff. Right. And that is when Kuja finds out that he's doomed to die. Like, hey man, you have a limited lifespan. You're gonna be dead soon.
There is a lot of sorry.
And then no, you're good. And then Kuja was like, well, and then I do feel like Kuja kind of fell back on one of those villain tropes where it's like, well, if I can't live, none of you are gonna live either. So I'm gonna destroy the whole world, right? Like, which he did. Like, he did it very effectively. Like, he's one of those villains that very similar. Like, he almost won, right? Like, he destroyed Terra, the planet, destroyed all the Terrans. He destroyed the crystal. I mean, he almost pulled it off. But Kuja is unique in that he finds redemption at the very end. At the very end, when you beat Necron, you find yourself being teleported away from the battle as he's exploding, and it's Kuja who is teleporting you. He saved you because you inspired him. And he in his last moments, he apologizes to Zidane for everything that he's done. And you find that Kuja was never really evil. Kuja was a victim of circumstance. And because, I mean, if you think about it, what happened to Kuja, like the way it wasn't fair.
Well, it's like the nature versus nurture argument, right?
Right. Like Kuja
was made to be the way that he is.
Yeah. And it was never, Kuja simply wanted to, he's at the very end, he simply wanted to rage against the purpose for which he was created.
Yeah. And was never given an opportunity to break out of that.
Yeah.
Nature versus nurture is
Compared
a good point
to,
on it, because
like,
if you look at how Kuja was raised essentially to be the tool and weapon that he was, versus Zidane
is supposed to be the
Baku.
fucking Antichrist, and he actually finds community and becomes.
He was raised by Baku, who was a strict disciplinarian, but also literally every time you interact with that dude, he's laughing, he's joking, he always finds a way to laugh through it.
Way too much of myself in Baku.
Right, and so you just immediately see, oh, I get where you got it.
Yeah.
I get where it came from.
Between that and the rest of Tantalus, right?
Right. You were raised by a dude who's always laughing and always has high spirits and a bunch of fucking goofballs, and you turned out the same.
And now we need to turn to two characters who are even more important than Kuja. Then that's Zoran and Thorn, two incredibly important. No, I'm just kidding. So here's.
I was like, where the fuck are you going with this?
So I actually think, Derek, that
what sort of deep cut are you about to hit?
This may need to be like a two-parter, because there's so much to talk about. But here's another thing I want to bring up.
Thank you for tuning in to Inside the Final Fantasy Studio with our part 17 of our retrospective.
You know what? That's not bad. It's not bad.
Don't give many ideas.
I would like to talk about all of the references to older Final Fantasy games, because I think Final Fantasy IX had more Easter eggs and more references to games that came before it than any game in the franchise since.
Yeah, well, that's intentional.
From and like, it was really interesting the way
it's probably
they
the
did.
best version of like an anniversary game. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
in terms of like, it is the most and I think it's also maybe the last numbered game in the franchise that feels in concert with the original 6.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they really wanted you to feel like this was an old school Final Fantasy. Like, they went back to that classic blue theme. The battle theme was, dun 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 dun, like, or not the battle theme, but the victory theme. Like, it was that, which was something they kind of gotten away from. So Final Fantasy 7 and 8 had 3 people to a party. Final Fantasy 9 had 4. But Final Fantasy 9, in regards to its battle theme, kind of went back to something that Final Fantasy 7 and 8 had strayed away from, and that's that whole like the
bass line.
Yeah, like, because that's something that 7 and 8 had kind of gotten away from. And
they had some sort of intro vamp, but like 9 had the actual like
it had that bass line. Yeah. Yeah, and it was instantly recognized. It was instantly recognized, but also somehow felt new at the same time. It felt like coming home, but somebody had renovated your home in your absence.
Shit got
and it had
queer-eyed while you weren't looking.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, actually, Derek. And it did a lot of things. Like Final Fantasy IX, even though it was harkening back to the earlier days of Final Fantasy, it also did a lot of cool things that I wish would come back. It innovated in a lot of interesting ways. And the first thing that I want to bring up is the active time scenario system. Where you'd be walking around and all of a sudden it would be like, hey, hit select, and you can see this other scene that's happening elsewhere. I know it's not called active time. It's not active time.
Active time events.
Events. That's what it is. But it was a really cool way to maintain the pacing of the story without, like, constantly going off on tangent, because you could, like, if you don't want to look at them, you didn't have to. I would advise that you do.
Yeah, because you just get a little bit of character work. Like,
yeah,
and it's a great cast. It's one of the best casts in the franchise. I would want to see more of these characters.
I would argue outside of 6, it is the best cast in the franchise. 6 and 15. I know that 15 doesn't do its women characters justice, but the boys are still great.
The boys do be good.
Being on the road with the boys is a good time. But Final Fantasy IX, it did so many things right. And I, like replaying it, because
I like the system of learning abilities off of equipment. It's pretty straightforward and simple, but it works.
Shit,
it's great.
Dude. I love that shit. It's very simple. It's very simple, but it also, like, it gives each character, and this is something, like, one of my very few criticisms, like, nothing's perfect, right? And Final Fantasy VI is one of those games that were, like, everybody could learn the same spell. So, like people had different abilities, like Edgar had tools, and, Gao had rage.
I like when characters have predefined kits and need to fit into,
but in Final Fantasy
need to utilize
IX,
their role.
Final Fantasy IX, every character had something that made them truly, truly unique.
But I also like job systems. Ugh. Why am I like this?
Well, I like job systems too. I also like I like it when characters
There's
have
room for both.
Yeah,
I agree. And Final Fantasy IX had characters that were there for very specific reasons in battle. And I think my only real criticism of the way Final Fantasy IX was structured was, like, in a lot of ways, the way the game ran felt like a step backward. And I'm primarily referring to, one, there was a lot of slowdown in the overworld, like a lot of slow. Because, and to be fair, Final Fantasy IX was pushing the absolute fucking limits of what the PlayStation 1 was capable of. But it also has, and this is one of the things that is difficult to go back to if you're just playing the vanilla version like I am, is that the battles are very
slow.
Very
again, Moguri mod fixes all of this. So.
No, but it's like the fact that every action, so, like, it's a thing where,
they
like,
gotta wind up for
doesn't really do a lot for you. Having high speed doesn't really do a lot for you because the actions take so long. As far as the animation,
it's the fact that Ozma, you specifically have to work around the weird, quirky ways that the HEB system and, like, mixes with the animations. Like, to the point where if you try to game it too hard, it actually punishes you.
Yourself.
Like, yeah, it's weird. It's a weird one. I'll give you that.
It is, and I know exactly what Josh is talking about. Like, Cloud has, or not Cloud, Jesus, Zidane. Like, when you attack with Zidane,
it's Clued.
It's Clued. Isn't it like Claude in Japan or something? Like,
no, it's almost certainly just Cloud.
Because I know in Japan it's not Sephiroth, it's Sephiroth.
Well, that's because they don't have a TH, and the os is usually used a lot of times when they mean an os.
By the way, true story, they changed it to Sephiroth in the English release because they felt that Sephiroth sounded too much like syphilis.
I mean, it does.
That's a true story. That
doesn't explain why fucking
true.
Alice became Aerith, but...
Well, I thought it was Eris in Japan and then Aerith in the
Isn't
United
it?
States.
Isn't it like pretty Josh?
It's
you might know.
Eris.
Isn't it pretty
I
clearly
thought it
meant
was
to
the
be
other way
Alice?
around. I thought it was the other way around.
Well, it's
that it came over here as Eris, but her actual name is Aerith.
well, again, there's no th, so a lot of times the su means
Yeah,
th.
it's Eris in Japan and then Aerith here. Yeah, that's what it is. But yeah, like so in Final Fantasy VII, like Cloud just attacks with his fucking sword. He dashes forward and attacks. With in 9 with Zidane, he like stances himself, then he brings
he
his
does like a
twin-sided
whole-
blade up, and he's like spins
And
around a
then
little
dashes
bit.
forward and then attacks.
and,
And
like,
then he
it
goes
does-
back and then kind of resettles himself.
It
and it's like
doesn't
the whole
sound-
thing.
Yes, and it doesn't sound like a lot, but when
it
you're
adds
doing
up.
that,
It does. I know.
well, and it also
Look,
takes.
I love FF8. Okay, I love far worse things.
Right, but it also it takes a long time from when you like spinny zoom into those random battles in 9 to like because it pans the enemies like 4 fucking times. I'm like, I get it, it's a goblin. You don't have to give me every cinematic fucking angle of the way that this thing is shaped and looked. Like I get it, it's a goblin. I understand. It's not a deal breaker, but I still love Final Fantasy 9, like the original PlayStation
Game's
version.
gonna have
but
drawbacks.
it does feel it in the battle system. It does kind of show its age a little bit.
Mhm.
You know, but yeah, like look at this fucking goblin we made, John. Like, yeah, I get it. It's cool.
It's so good. Look at his nose.
It's a good looking
Look at his
goblin.
eyes.
To
Yeah,
be honest.
now I've got to
He
see
got a
it
little
every
hat.
fucking time. Can I? All right, I want to say I don't know how you guys are going to react to this, but I think Chocobo Hot and Cold fucking sucks.
Well, you're allowed to be wrong.
I don't think it's interesting. I never found it was. I always do it to get the like all the ultimate weapons. But I don't. It's
You're allowed
it's
to be
just
wrong.
So RNG based, and
It's also
I
fun.
just
It is.
fun.
Look,
might
here's
be
the thing.
stretching
Is it a bad is it a bad mini game? Yes. Do I complete it 100% every time? Yes. Sorry, I don't. No.
It's plus it helps that it's got listen, if you give your mini game bitchin' music,
Yeah.
I'm probably
It
on.
does have that really cool like Zorro ass fucking music.
Vamio a la
like,
flamenco.
Yeah.
yeah, like it sounds really fucking
It's
cool.
look, it's
It's the
better than
same thing as how
Tetramaster.
like it's the same thing 100% true. It's the same thing as how like am I like always down for every fishing mini game in every RPG? No. Will I fish for fucking hours in Breath of Fire 3?
Yeah.
You fucking sure
Yeah.
betcha. Why?
Fishing was
Because
actually-
I'll roll up and you'll just hear, get ready. Boom, 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 boom.
Fishing
Every
was
time
actually
you
one
got
of
it, good.
Fishing
Great.
was actually one of the best things about Final Fantasy 15. That had a sick ass fishing mini game.
You got sick. You got good. I'm all in. I'm all in. Yeah, no, Tetramaster fucking. Here's the problem.
Didn't
I
FF15
would
have
like-
like a VR fishing spin-off?
It did.
Yeah.
It did.
Here's the problem with Tetramaster.
It's bad.
First of all, Triple Triad is better than Tetramaster.
That's not hard. Triple Triad's the fucking goat.
Triple Triad is better than Tetramaster because of the lack of RNG.
Yeah.
If you just had Tetramaster be, we expanded it to a 4x4 grid, and there'll be some like spaces taken and things like that, I think it would be much better. But the fact that I can put my little fucking my big ass, oh, I got this dope ass fucking card and he's so strong, whatever, and they'll be like, hey, here's the flan, and that motherfucker will be like, and you'll see the number pop up and be like 58 versus 6, and then all of a sudden that shit will scorch down and you lose.
Tetramaster
It's like,
just doesn't.
What the fuck just
Tetramaster's
happened?
rules. I believe that there are consistent rules behind Tetramaster. I do not know that scholars have figured them out yet.
They don't exist. There's so much RNG. Like, I've looked up a guide to figure out, like, okay, how does this all work? How do you convert the numbers on the cards? And what is the best lettering system in this, that, or the other? It don't matter. There's still too much RNG. Even if you get past that,
Yeah.
here's the point of why I say Triple Triad is better. Even if you get past that, the entirety of what you get out of Tetramaster is you're required to play it at one point in the game, and if you like beat the thing properly that you're doing, you get like a re-raise ring or something like that, and that is it. That is the sum total of what you get, other than your cards can get you more cards. Triple Triad gave you massive tangible bonuses for playing it.
Yeah.
if they gave you a reason to play Tetramaster,
Here's-
more people might learn how
Here's
to
the
play it.
thing. I learned how to do calculus in my head, and I could not figure out Tetramaster.
Derek, when I was going from middle school to high school, my school did superlative awards where it would be like perfect attendance or mostly this or whatever. My 8th grade math teacher created an award she had never given out before just for me in an audit in front of the auditorium, in front of the whole fucking class going to high school. I got the Human Calculator Award because while I was in her class, I was literally beating kids with a calculator in hand at doing shit up on the board in my head. And she was
For a
like,
minute,
"How
I
the fuck
thought
are
you
doing
meant
that?"
like you were beating kids physically. I'm like, Jesus,
Yes, that too.
Josh, like,
But like literally, I
Can't solve math problems if you got a nosebleed, nerd.
I am officially a math gay. Like you can give me numbers.
Is it nice
and
to
I
get to
just
call
figure them
yourself
out.
that?
It is kind
You're
of.
one
it
of the
is.
5 of the generation. It's wonderful.
Yes, I'm one of the chosen.
So
Two of us.
you
if
actually-
two
I
of
can
us, if
do-
something happens on this call, and the gay community won't recover. There's only
be
5
in
of us every
shambles.
generation, right?
Shambles. I can also
Josh.
drive. So
Yeah.
I'm too versatile. I'm too important.
Josh, you brought something up, and I would
I
be
can
remiss
drive.
if I didn't expand on it. You mentioned that you looked online to try to figure out Tetramaster.
Yep. I know
And
where you're going with this.
We have to bring up one of the worst decisions that Square has
I
ever
wish
made,
I had that book handy.
and
but
that
I don't.
is the Play Online service introduced
The
with
Final
the Final Fantasy
Fantasy
IX
IX
strategy
strategy
guide,
guide.
which is one
It
of
may
the
have
worst
killed
abominations.
strategy guides.
So for people
The
listening who
amount
don't
of
know,
times you read it's like, yeah, like I think one of my favorites was like there's the section where like you've got to assign first early on you have to find all of the Knights of Pluto and you get a thing if you do.
Yes.
And then later on you've got to assign each of the Knights
Yeah,
of
to,
Pluto
like, a
in
specific
groups
job,
of 2
yeah.
to a job. And if you do it right, you get something out of it. And in both cases, the guide is like, if you find all the Knights of Pluto, you'll get something. And if you want to know where they are and what, go on to Play Online. And I'm like, you
playonline.com. Yeah,
motherfucker, I'm
it's like
reading the book.
it's like, why the fuck did I buy a strategy guide? Like, Play Online, I think it only existed for Final Fantasy IX, and then it
No.
was swiftly shut down, right?
No, there is something else that existed for. I don't know if you forgot. That was the service. And here's the thing. It was so minor in it that you didn't even realize. But that was the service you had to log into in order to play Final Fantasy XI.
Oh, that sucks.
Did you not? Like, when you were
No.
logging into Final Fantasy XI.
I never played 11. I didn't play 11.
Yeah, when you logged it. So Final Fantasy XI had its own, like, a client you had to make an account and log into,
how
and from
Terras
there
work.
and it was Play Online, and you could customize your profile, you could message people through it, whatever. You could hop into Final Fantasy XI, you could play other people in, funny enough, Tetramaster. They had a client you could play people on in there to play with them.
Play Online was a fucking Greek tragedy.
The only
Like,
good thing about it was there was actually some pretty decent music when you were like logging in and then going in the main thing. That I could
Speaking of decent music, that's another thing we need to mention about Final Fantasy IX is that it has one of the strongest soundtracks in the entire
Which
game.
is
Whether or not
crazy
you're
to say because
I
it's
mean,
Final
Oh,
Fantasy.
and
You're talking
one
about-
other thing. You brought up the callbacks, by the way. For all of you, I'm about to say a spoiler. I don't give a shit. The game's old enough. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine.
I was like, there's a super secret thing involving Aiko's wall. Dagger's real name is Sarah. She's Princess Sarah. It's
Yes.
a throwback to the original. It's
Yeah.
Sarah. Her name is Sarah. The secret with the walls, her name is Sarah. Cool. Go on.
correct.
Like that was the secret. Her real identity. It was just finding out her name was Sarah.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
If you never played the original,
Garnet's fucking sicker. I'm sorry. She traded up
spoiler-
there.
Spoiler
Dagger was
alert.
also sicker.
Dagger
like,
was
it doesn't
really
matter
good, too.
That was
Spoiler
the
alert,
third
Alleyway-
worst name.
Alleyway Jack is Gilgamesh. Like, I mean,
I don't like
It's-
that because he sucks, but not in the way Gilgamesh is supposed to suck.
Right.
yeah, like, but yeah,
Gilgamesh
Alleyway.
is supposed to suck because he's a goober, not because he's an asshole.
Not because
Yeah.
he might roofie your drink. Like,
Right.
Yeah. But from you got me like what Derek just said really fucked me up. No, from You Are Not Alone to The Great Hunt, like, which is one of my favorite tracks in the entire game. Like, Final Fantasy IX's music sings Like, dude, Beatrix's boss theme is so fucking foreboding. Like Beatrix has been built up as this threat, this ultra powerful knight. Grunkle Stan knows. What the fuck does that mean?
It's a character from
Don't worry
Gravity Falls.
about it. It's just the way your glasses are framing your nose.
He sounds like this.
Yeah.
If it'll help you envision the
And
kind
he
of
runs
nose
he runs the
a
mystery
character
shack.
like this might
Yeah.
have.
Don't worry
I don't know.
about
I've had people tell me with the glasses I look like a younger version of the guy from Up. But
Actually, that's fairly accurate.
That's Grunkle Stan.
That's fairly accurate. That is also Grunkle Stan, yeah.
yeah.
My wife missed me, but her aim is getting better.
Oh my god, shut the fuck up.
But her aim is getting better.
No, Final Fantasy IX has some really incredible musical pieces.
Oh, 100%.
Couple favorites of mine are not just Let the Hunt Begin or You're Not Alone, but The Dark Messenger, which is Kuja's battle theme. It's got a real fucking Queen vibe to it, which totally fits with Kuja's aesthetic.
Mhm.
You know, it's literally the opening riff of "We Will Rock You."
For those of you who are in chat,
It literally is.
For those of you who are in chat who are a little too legitimative in order to understand, when he said Queen vibe, he didn't mean Queen like a queen. He meant Queen like
Queen.
the
He
band.
meant
the
band.
Queen, Freddie
Right.
Mercury.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you for making it less confusing, Derek. I
No.
appreciate
If you go online, like if you've never heard The Dark Messenger, the reason I say that is
If
go
you've
online,
never heard
go to YouTube.
the Queen song.
Yeah. Well, no. I was going to say look up The Dark Messenger from Final Fantasy IX.
If you've
Listen to
never
it.
heard Queen, go to your local library.
Yeah. No. But the opening riff is literally straight up. The opening
100%.
riff from "We Will Rock You."
Cool.
Like Final Fantasy IX has.
If you never heard
and-
Queen, unbuckle your high chair and
Oh my God! Shut the fuck up! Jesus Christ!
Enjoy
so we're
your
getting
nuggies.
yeah.
we're
Hey,
getting
to be
getting
fair,
close.
a lot of us who love Queen are enjoying some nuggies.
Okay, I do love some nuggies. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna lie.
right.
We're getting close to the end of the podcast tonight. I feel like we've only scratched the surface of Final Fantasy IX.
I can't. I don't know that I got a second full FF9 episode in me.
Well,
but
that's fine. That's fine.
I want to.
But-
Can I
but-
be earnest for a minute? Can I be
Please.
earnest for a minute. So look, obviously, like we had a very slow news week, and we didn't have shit to actually talk about news-wise, unless we wanted to really stretch out. Yet more Nintendo Switch 2 shit leaked, right? And this was shaping up to be yet another show where it was going to be just me and John, because most of the crew is going through it right now. And
And then I just crashed the party.
well, no, that's great. That is, trust me, a benefit. It is not a secret at this point, I think, to most people that I also, to some unspecified degree, have been going the fuck through it. So John picked a thing that he knew would just be a thing that I would autism special interest into. I see you, buddy, and I appreciate you.
I just wanted to talk about something that I knew would put a smile on your face, and that's why I picked a little Final Fantasy IX discussion, because I love you, man,
Yeah.
and you're going through it, and I didn't want to talk about any. Look, man, the world is literally fucking burning right now. Just look at Los Angeles. Like, the world is literally on fire. You're going through it. A lot of my friends are going through it, and so I'm trying to come up with ways to just distract from all that. And that goes for everybody in chat too, right? Like, there's a lot of bullshit going on right now, and I know that things seem uncertain and scary, but what's important is that we all take a few minutes to kind of step back. And, if you've got a friend who's going through it, if you've got somebody who's struggling, you don't necessarily need to talk to them about what they're struggling with. Sometimes all they need is to just talk about things that they love. Like,
You need a
instead
healthy mix,
of,
yeah,
like there's a time and place for talking about heavy stuff that somebody's going through, but there's also a time to just kind of put that aside and get that person's mind off of it. So, if you know somebody who's struggling, if you know somebody who is going through a tough time, reach out to them and just see how they're doing. You don't need to bring up what's going on with them mentally. Just see how they're doing. Talk about something, bring up something randomly that they'd love. I could have trolled Derek with, we're going to talk about Atari sex games, which is eventually going to happen.
Which is
We're
a
going to
thing Derek loves.
No, we're just gonna fucking talk about
Oh,
it. We're gonna fucking talk about it. Josh,
I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know.
Josh,
Derek was
Josh, I said at the beginning of the podcast, you weren't here, but I'll say it again at the end. You can't know that there's an Atari 2600 game called Beat 'em and Eat 'em and not talk about it.
Oh, I was
Okay.
literally about to mention Beat 'em and Eat 'em specifically.
You can't not talk about Beat 'em.
I was literally about to say I didn't know Derek was the target audience for Beat 'em and Eat 'em, but okay, I'm glad we're here.
At some
I
point,
would
we
have
gotta,
been had I been 30
No.
at the time it came out.
So to answer in chat, Custer's Revenge is the one game we will not talk about. I'm not talking
For
about
so
Custer's
many
Revenge.
reasons.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons I'm not talking about Custer's Revenge.
You could
but
talk
we-
about dumb, horny shit without talking about crimes.
We are going to talk about Beat 'em and Eat 'em. We are going to talk about the game where you're a fireman putting out fires with your jizz. Like, we're going to talk. What are you doing? Okay.
No, we're
Jesus.
not.
I literally did this
okay,
up
all
at my
right.
chest.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Oh, please.
That's the gameplay. Okay?
Yeah, I know it's the gameplay. All right.
That's the gameplay you want
I
to talk
know.
about. John, you got to be willing to engage with the subject matter if you want to get deep into the art. If you want to
He
really,
said deep.
if you want to thrust deep into the art and really just really leave yourself
I would really
as
like to.
best you can within
I just
the
want
art.
to get a firm hand on the topic. Okay. Like, that's all I want to do. But in all seriousness, is like I picked Final Fantasy IX because I knew that that's something that Derek would enjoy. So
I have no knowledge of Derek loving Final Fantasy IX.
yeah, it's weird. He's never mentioned it.
Unrelated.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
You see this? Derek's got one of these
Yeah.
that I gave. With,
I
but
will
with
be-
FF9's logo.
I will be off the podcast next week because I will be in Hawaii for work. I know, boo-hoo. Poor John's got to go to Hawaii for
I
work.
know.
Yeah, I know.
Fuck you, bud.
I'm also going
The
to London.
fuck?
I'm also going to London, Germany, and Romania for work this year, and the Bahamas. So I know it's a tough life. I got a new position. Did I not tell you this, Josh?
No, you've told me you got a new job, but like, what's your new fucking job?
I'll tell you when
Personal
we- I'll
assistant
tell
to
you-
The Rock?
I'll tell you. Yes,
The
it's my,
fluff.
job it's my job to oil him up before.
Right? Are
before
you
he goes
just
to the
as
beach.
personal? You just
I'm his
walk around
cabana
all
boy.
day with 2 jars of coconut oil. I'm here,
Yeah.
boss.
All right, let's get those pecs lubed up. No, I'll tell you what I'm doing when we get off the
That's
when we
fine,
get
that's
offline here, and that's going to happen now. Thank you to everybody in chat for sticking with us. We appreciate it. Remember, kindness costs nothing, and I won't be here next week, but I'm assuming somebody will be.
We'll see. We'll see what's happening. So
Yep. Take it easy, guys.